Welcome to this week's Player Past, actually first week of Player Past. I'm your host, Will. Talk about what I do on Player Pass. I pick a movie random every week, usually an indie film, something you wouldn't pick on any given Sunday. I watch it. A lot of times I have to force myself to watch it, and then I'll let you know what I think. I give you my pros, I give you my cons, and I'll let you know whether to play or pass. If I do give it a pass, I'll offer 3 movies to watch instead. A classic film, a modern film, and an indie film, all in the same vein or idea of the movie that I feel would be better watches, depending on your mood. So first, let's talk about the movie a little bit that I picked this week. Synchronicity, time travel paradox film, directed by Gentry. Hasn't really done anything huge, and I never heard of him before, so I decided to pick that for this week's film. The main actors in the film are going to be McKnight. He's very partial to working with Gentry. They've done a couple things together. Also, he's partial to the name Jim in movies. Don't know why, but hey, that's his thing. Also, he's supporting the female character is played by Briane Davis. She's also not a very big actress. She's been in a few TV shows, a few indie films, and whatnot. But surprisingly, they did get Michael Ironside, who's made a lot of appearances in sci-fi films such as Starship Troopers. I happen to be a fan of his. I also think he's like the fake Jack Nicholson. I think they look alike. They could be brothers. That's just me. You might not agree, but that's neither here nor there. I digress. Let's talk about what I liked about the movie. The world, the setting was very interesting. It was a noir type setting. There was a lot of darks, a lot of lights, a lot of contrast. They had a lot of wide-angle shots showing a lot of the city, the buildings. It was very dystopian, futuristic, corporatized world. Didn't show very much nature, didn't see any trees, didn't see groups of people. I felt like they could have fleshed out in that world a little bit more, but right now we're talking about what I liked. So I liked the settings. I thought the camera work rather, was very well done, and the shots and how they transitioned was very well. I thought that was very good. Of course, my second pro is going to be Michael Ironside. He played his usual gruff person screwing over the little guy. It's just his usual role he normally plays, but he did it well. He played his character well, and I did like it. And honestly, a time travel sci-fi film, that's going to be a pro right there. In fact, that's a time travel. And everybody that likes sci-fi loves time travel films. They usually do very well. Even if they're not very well done, they're at least bearable. Not to say good, but you can say, okay, I kind of like that, time travel idea, that paradox idea. It was interesting. It'll make you think. And that's usually what their goal is just to make you think. And they usually do a good job of that, whether they're good or bad. Now let's talk about what I didn't like. First and foremost, can we talk about the god-awful synth track that plays almost throughout the entirety of the film? It is kind of a subtle nuance to the 80s synth tracks in the sci-fi films, such as Blade Runner, those type of things. But it was awful. It gave me a headache several times throughout the film. It played it way too often. I feel like if they were going to use that synth track, they should have played it at key points in the movie that they wanted you to pay attention to draw out what was happening on the screen, so you would know what you were supposed to really be paying attention to. Because a lot of times it's easy to get lost in a time paradox film. So I feel like they could have used it in that way, but they didn't. I feel like they didn't develop the characters enough. You really get dropped in the middle of this whole story. Scientists obviously trying to develop time travel, and they're looking for investors. And you don't really learn how they met. You don't see how it's been developed. There's been no big breakthrough how they figure out, how to go back in time. And they talk about this, what's obviously some sort of nuclear source of power, but they don't go into detail about what that is or how it was developed. You're just supposed to take all this as fact. I didn't like that. They could have really fleshed that out. There's a lot of unnecessary things in this film that they could have taken out and, gave us a little bit more story. The first 30 minutes was very boring. Extremely boring. They really could have done a better job about making it interesting, but I fell asleep, honestly, the first time I tried to watch it. And I woke up, I made myself watch it. The first 30 minutes is pretty bad, but after that, it gets decent, I suppose. And the last con is just that it's predictable. Doesn't add anything to the time travel paradox, film genre. It doesn't do anything unique. It's pretty basic. It's the Starbucks drinking leggings Uggs of time paradox films, just being honest. But now we come to the important part: play or pass. And I gotta give this one a pass. Unfortunately, its pros weren't enough to outweigh the cons. I like the initial idea, just wasn't executed well. So here's what you should be watching. As far as a retro film, I'm going to suggest Terminator. A lot of people want to go with T2. I'm a Terminator guy. I like the original. It's what I get down with. T2's good, but Terminator, much better. Second, the modern film we're going to talk about is Looper, starring Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's a great film, involves pretty much the mafia, big guns, future, time travel, murder, and a great storyline, So you should really give that a watch if you haven't seen it. And then for my indie recommendation is a movie called Predestination with Ethan Hawke, which I feel like should have been a much bigger movie than it was. Not sure why it didn't get the hype that it deserved, but Predestination really did blow my mind with the plot twist and how it ended, and I feel like that's one of Ethan Hawke's better movies, by far. So, this week, we're going to give Synchronicity a pass and go watch those 3 other films I told you about. Hope you tune in next week. Thanks.